Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. We are doing the angel Boel, and definitely not a well-known angel. It's an angel that gets used with doing deeper work in some of the planetary aspects. Um, I don't know, like I say this every week, and I'm going to say it for another year. This angel is a bit interesting. As we go through and we work with the angels, we notice that like something is different than just the normal things that we do for healing. We do our normal practices and everything, and things feel good, things feel better. But when we work with angels, there's just this dynamic that's there that is like, oh, it strikes something, it hits a nerve. It it's hard to put words to. You could say, I feel a little inspired. I feel something. It's like that angelic energy. It's an energy with consciousness, like bypasses all the normal things and gets in to something that's a little deeper or a little different or whatever that might be or look like. And, when we're dealing with just normal energies of the body that, you know, make the body run, they're not necessarily energy with consciousness. It's just a kind of energy or a kind of life force. And there's an aspect of consciousness there. As we increase our connection to the soul or our true nature, there starts to be more energy with consciousness that comes in. Really, when we start to experience more of the soul, what we're starting to experience is light. At the very beginning, we're experiencing light. And some light comes in, and then, it diminishes. And then some light comes in, and it diminishes or goes away. And this is the nature of things for a bit. And when that light comes in, it has an impact on our nervous system and has an impact on our physiology. It does something to the emotions, and eventually it starts to impact the mind. I mean, that idea of being awakened is light entering the mind, right? Or the mind being enlightened. And so as we go through and we do these practices, there are mechanics, there are things that we're trying to do. And at first, the first kind of phase is we need to be able to have our nervous system be balanced enough for one to be able to let the light in. And then the nervous system has to be balanced enough for the light to start to have some sort of effect, right? And the idea is that light is tied to divine intelligence, the creative aspect, and that when we are able to like harness that or harmonize that, we begin to experience divine love. And so, what does that mean? You know, so divine love being providence and stability. And, we think of it as just, I don't know, grace or this like some sort of embrace, which is true. But if we look at it from the point of view of our journey, our personal journey, this idea of divine love or beginning to like experience or touch divine love is really starting to be an experience that's going beyond the form, going beyond the body, going beyond the aura, going beyond our normal experiences with the energy body. And we're starting to touch something that we would call the astral form or the astral body, the astral realm. And this is when the heart truly becomes activated. you know, before then, we have moments where we have activation and everything, and our heart feels big, and we have an amazing sense of peace or sense of well-being, or we feel immense love for maybe people around us or to a teacher, something along that lines. None of that can touch what happens when we touch the astral and the heart begins to activate to an even greater degree, right? And for this to happen, we have to be able to move past the place of inspiration and being inspired, right? And we have to be able to ground the light, because otherwise it just is passing through. It touches us, it affects us, we remember it, right? It has somewhat of an impact. Maybe we were able to grab on to some level or degree of healing that made us feel good. But until the energy really gets grounded in the body, that experience of the angelic energy is nice. It is inspiring. It does feel like something's happening. It feels dynamic. And for a while, we got to get used to it, right? We got to get used to it. We can't just go rushing in and do it all. So it's a step. But at some point, that starts to feel a little like kind of normal. And we start doing these processes, and it's like, boy, every week I'm feeling pretty good. But then at some point we go, but is there more? Can we go deeper? Can we take it deeper? Right? And it's one thing to go from being able to have that place of inspiration, but then to take that inspiration and ground it in the body, right? Grounded in the body. And so this idea of grounding it in the body, a lot of times when people go, oh, you know, that person's very grounded, or we need to feel more grounded. Like sometimes when people have anxiety, therapists will tell them you need to ground yourselves. Basically, you know, it's what they're talking about is like an activation of the basic chakra, but really that center that's opposite the navel, the Ming Men, the backside of the navel on your low back, when it overactivates, it shoots energy up, and you you diminish the basic chakra if it's like overactivated. And so this is tied to our stress response and our reactions to things going on in our surroundings. We might be a little bit afraid, or so this overactivates and it shrinks the basic and it makes us a little top heavy, right? And so on one level, we want to minimize that, right? We want to be able to be grounded in the world. And in the extreme, we would even be in a place where we might not even feel that present. We would check out a little bit. We might dissociate a little bit, right? Because we're not grounded in the physical world, right? So the opposite of that is to feel present, right? So when working with the angelic energies, this actually takes on an even deeper meaning. To be grounded really doesn't have anything to do with the chakras. Like when we're talking about it initially, and when you hear New Age people talk about it, they're talking about the chakras. But really, being grounded isn't about the chakras. The chakras are a reflection of something, right? And so, what does it mean to be grounded? And it really comes down to this place of the state that your body is in, right? Like if we've had trauma happen, then a lot of times we see things through the lens of trauma, right? If we have something where it's caused a lot of fear, then we see things through the lens of fear, right? When we've had some big negative experience happen, like a death in the family or, death of a parent or something, we have this kind of thing that happens where we start to think in catastrophic ways, you know. Even the idea of maybe struggling a little bit, we might feel that there's not enough, like there's lack. Like, it's basically how the body feels. And as much as we go through and we treat the neurological loops, it's good to unwind those loops. But the loops are not the root cause. The loops are the crime scene. We're cleaning up the crime scenes, and that has to be done. But the state of the body is the root of how those trauma loops, those fear loops, those mental loops, whatever it might be, it's how these things get perpetuated and it's how they get initiated, like it's how they get started. And so sometimes we might even diminish a bunch of trauma loops, and you're like, oh, God, I feel so much better. And then over a period of time, little by little, might not be about the same situation, but all of a sudden something starts to gurgle up again, and you're like, ugh, I have so many loops. Why all the loops? And it really comes down to this idea of the state of the body. And we've been talking about this for a while. This isn't a new topic, but sometimes with these things, um, it's better to keep having the conversation over a period of time and not just try to understand it all at once. Because all at once we get some pieces and then we don't get some pieces and we kind of walk away and we go, I totally got it. And truth is dynamic. It's always evolving and it's always evolving in us, right? And so this idea that we have talked about in the past where just because we're out of a situation doesn't mean that the body doesn't think that it's still happening again. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But really what's happening is when we have these events that have happened in the past, our body kind of goes into this kind of state of being. Like I'm in a traumatic state. I'm in a fear state. I'm in a lack state. Maybe it was never an event, but maybe we grew up in places where it was very chaotic or life was just always a struggle. So we kind of come to this place of the body sees life as being very chaotic. Stability isn't really a thing that it's had the experience of, right? So a lot of times the experiences that we've had have had an impact on the state of the body, right? So if our body is in this place of trauma, for example, then the lens that we see through is trauma. Or if it's fear or if it's chaos, then what we see is chaos or fear, right? And so this idea of transformation, you'll see a lot of the angels, they talk about this idea of transformation, right? What does that mean? Like, we can talk about some mechanics and we can talk about like processes and this helps to transform this and this helps to transmute this and, all of those things. But transformation, as far as angelology is concerned or working with angels, the idea of transformation is that the angelic energy comes in and it taps the form. It doesn't just pass through and wash over it, but It taps the form. And in that form being tapped, right? It doesn't push the body into something, but when that tap happens, it changes the state of the body. It changes the form, right? And so the idea in deeper levels of doing angel work is, how do I make that tap happen? How can I get that where true healing happens, right? True healing, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, karmic patterns, whatever it is. How do I get it to happen, right? And so it's about grounding the light, containing the light into the form, into the body. Like, how do we get it into the body? And vagal tone, for example, we've been talking about vagal tone for a few years now. Like we talk about this and we talk about that, how to heal this, focus on vagal tone, diminish dysregulation, right? So at some point, the idea of vagal tone becomes an even deeper potential for vagal tone, where we start to talk about Sharanagati for those that did the auric programming. Remember, it's a kind of conductivity. It's where the will really starts to attune and align with the light. So it's much deeper than just my body needs to heal, right? So even past the idea of Sharanagati or being spiritually conductive, right, is this idea of vagal anchoring. Like you're developing your vagal tone to such an extent that when the light comes in, because of the level or degree of vagal tone, it's able to hold into the light and starts dropping it into the form, right? And this doesn't happen like unconsciously. Like this is something that you consciously have to kind of cultivate. You know, sometimes people go, well, maybe it just happens. I think about it, or I know that piece of information, or I intend it. That's like saying that I'm expecting a package from UPS, but I haven't really ordered anything, but I know I'm going to get the package, right? You have to order the package, you know. You have to do that inner Amazon or whatever you want to call it to send the message. And we've been doing that for a while. We've been doing the vagal tone, we've been diminishing dysregulation, all the things we've been talking about, they're not different than what we're talking about now. We're just talking about it on a deeper level, right? On a deeper level. And there are practices about being able to contain the light or get that tap from the light into the body where it goes much deeper than just the inspiration we feel when working with the angels. Even the idea of working those kits where you put some at the base of the skull and rub it on your feet and put it on your torso and everything. That's you're working your way to those taps, and it's not one big tap, it's a lot of little taps. It's a lot of little taps. You keep trying to have those taps. And so if you've used those kits, you notice that it feels different than just inhaling the angel, and it feels different than just invoking the angel. There's something else happening, and what you're doing is you're harnessing your physiology and you're integrating the light. You're bringing the light in, right? Now, with that, there's angels that accelerate this process, right? And so the angel Boel is one of those angels, right? The more that you do a devotional practice to this particular angel, it is about like that personal transformation or that inner spiritual transformation. A lot of times when you see the angels that talk about transformation, it's about that tap. It's about containing the light in the form, even if it goes away again. you're still holding it in the form for a longer period of time. But usually, as soon as you start to hold on to it, you're grounding that energy, right? And once you start to ground the energy, it begins to turn into embodiment, right? You start to embody this light, right? So it's also, as you bring in an angelic energy like this, you're not doing it independent of the soul. Like, for you to be able to do that, for you to be able to bring this light in, there has to be a certain level of alignment with intuition. And with that alignment of intuition, there's a greater alignment with the soul. And with a greater alignment of the soul, more light or more of this angelic energy comes in. This is one of the big reasons to work with angelic energy, is you can have something to be devotional to, and as you begin to work it, you're also developing your soul, the higher soul. As you go through and you do this, you're doing it while you're in the body, right? So with that, to begin to allow the angelic energy to come in, first there has to be the inspiration part. And if you look at it mechanically, this process that we do, where we do the forehead, back head, and then the sides of the head and the brain, and then to the heart, and then the ball of light, that's letting in the light. That's letting in the inspiration. That is helping the light to continue to come in, right? And so once that starts to happen, the next step is, okay, the light keeps coming in. How do I get the tap? How do I get the light to start now being contained in the form where this amazing feeling that I keep having, how can I stick it in my pocket, and how can I bring it in to the body and heal physically, emotionally, mentally, karmically, spiritually, whatever, however you want to say it. How do I help it shift? A lot of what we feel that we think is karmic or other people is just the state that our body is in, and we haven't gotten out of that cage from whatever happened, be it that we were a little kid, that it was a catastrophe, that it was, some horrible event, or maybe it was just a bunch of chaos over a period of time. Whatever it is, we get kind of locked in this cage. And as much as we try, we keep getting better. We do keep getting better, but at some point, we're like, "Ugh," but it feels like there's something more. There's like some greater potential that's there. Like I feel that if I just knew how to spin the dials right, I can walk into something that was like amazing, something that's much deeper, much different than whatever I have experienced before. That is what you call the tap, right? So we're going to work with Boel, and we're going to try taking this a little bit deeper in this experience, but also this idea is is something we're going to be talking about now for the next several months, and then after that there's another level, right? So this is the topic for the next few months. Okay, so with that, you're going to just close your eyes for a moment. And then just silently in your mind, repeat Boel. Boel. El. The name means one who comes from God, or the one that comes from the source. Boel. Boel. El. So you have your oil, the Boel, Angel Boel. Begin inhaling with your awareness on your forehead. And let's even have you take like a drop, put it on your finger, and then rub it on your forehead. Boel. You're inhaling with your awareness on the forehead. You're still with your awareness on the forehead. Move your awareness to the back head. Your awareness is on the back head. And then your awareness is on the sides of your head. And then your awareness is on your brain. Your awareness is on your brain. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and let it go for a moment. Just let everything go. Let that drain you. Again, your awareness is on your brain. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Okay, and then just let it go again. You're just letting it go. Okay, your eyes are closed. You're not inhaling. Your eyes are closed. Your awareness is on your brain. Silently in your mind, let's repeat Boel. 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 You're inhaling. You're inhaling the oil. Your awareness is on your brain. And then you're going to your high heart, that area between your two collarbones, your high heart. And then just let that go and begin visualizing yourself in a ball of light. You're visualizing yourself in a ball of light. Yeah, you can start inhaling when you're ready. And then just pause and be still. So at this point, you're letting in the light. You're letting in the inspiration. But let's do a little deeper. Let's do some body listening, body awareness. Where do you feel something in the body? A tension, a heaviness, whatever that might be. Your awareness is on that area, and you're taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. How's that feeling? Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with it. Hey, so let that go for a moment. And what helps with transmutation in the body, right, is the low back, the backside of the navel, known as the Ming Men. Your awareness is on the Ming Men. Your awareness is on that low back area. And then just let it go. Too much? Should we take a break or keep going? Okay, so now you're going to hold the bottle up to your chest, chin down, inhale, hold your breath, up, exhale, down, inhale, 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 up, exhale. You're just being still. Now your awareness is between the eyes, the ajna. Take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and let it go. On that wheel. Let's go ahead and do some shares and some questions, and then we'll jump back in and do more practice. But how did you do?
You can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself, you can type into the chat. If you do type into the chat, please send messages over to Apothecary Geek or to Plant Prana Oils. You do that with that little plus sign button that says new chat. Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hi there. Um, when we did the ajna, came to the ajna, it felt like there was this, I don't know how to describe it exactly. It was like ka-chunk.
Yeah,
So,
that you nailed it. Yeah, that's
okay,
exactly
okay.
it.
So,
Yeah.
because I was wondering if the ajna is, before we did the process, and you were talking about, being able to anchor it in the light. And then, so
Hmm.
bringing it to the ajna, a part of that process of being able to
Yes,
anchor it.
yes.
Okay.
Like, like you could think of the ajna as like the forehead would be like wisdom or like a flash of light. The ajna would be containment or like processed light, like it's processing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and then is there more after the ajna to
Yeah.
do more with the anchoring of it?
Yeah, so we kind of did it over the weekend. Like I didn't use the same terms,
Yeah.
we were just kind of because I do that a lot. Like we'll kind of talk about stress and we do it, but really it's like practicing for a deeper practice. So excuse me, after the ajna, you go to the base of the skull,
Mm.
and then from the base of the skull, your awareness then on the spine, like
Ah,
the
yeah.
whole
Okay.
spine. Yeah. And we're going to do that tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But you remember, like on the, I don't know if you were there on the weekend, but like we would have people like observe some situation and then, like they might feel it in the body, but at first you were observing and then you would observe and put your awareness on the Ming Men. And then, we were talking about the materialization process. And then you let it go and then you would do the materialization process, right? And then after you're done, you put your awareness on the ajna. And so the idea being that, like, your kerchunk or whatever you said was like a perfect way of describing it. It's like the Ming Men is transmuting whatever, like even as you're getting ready to work with the angel or you've been bringing the angelic energy in, there's part of your body and emotions and mind that are like, oh, this is amazing. And then there's still part of your body that's like, I don't know about this. Like, there's a little bit of a pushback. It's the dance that happens with the form. And so you put your awareness on the Ming Men, and the Ming Men will transmute those issues, as they've risen up as you do this practice, whatever sort of blockage or whatever it is. Because I mean, the Ming Men is about transmutation. Another way of saying that is it's raising the vibration of the body and it's balancing out the two sides of the brain. And so you're transmuting that, and then you kind of let that go. And then you do the materialization breath where you're physicalizing light. And not only are you physicalizing light, but you're attuning to the light and you're aligning with the light. It's not massive or over the top, but every time you do it, it keeps getting stronger and stronger. You keep aligning with the light. And so then that process happens. And then the next step is, here we're talking about with angels, but here you could be talking about the materialization breath is you're putting something in motion. Like the way that I was describing it on the weekend is, we spend so much time about like, okay, how does this make me feel? How does this feel in my body? How does this feel? Am I dysregulated? Do I have vagal tone? I need to increase my vagal tone. I need to diminish my dysregulation so that these become balanced, right? And so we kind of reach this place at some point where you're like, oh, I feel good. But then you go out into the outside world and then, ugh, or you try to do something. And there is the inner part where you're trying to balance out vagal tone and dysregulation. But then when you start trying to survive in the world, there's still this filter, it's tied to the senses. Like, so there's still this filter of like our past experiences, like the state of the body, where we're having to try to manifest through this other kind of dysregulation. There's the dysregulation that's about the body, but then trying to go out into the world, there's still this like filter of our past experiences that we have this dysregulation, and that is tied to the state of the body. Whatever state that your body's in, it's like that's the message that goes out. If I'm traumatized, I'm sending out even things I'm trying to bring in good, but it's tainted by a little bit of trauma. Or if it's chaos, then it's tainted by a little bit of chaos. And as we keep doing it, it keeps getting better and better. As long as we don't make bad decisions. And again, that even goes with aligning with the light is, if you think of the materialization breath, it's beyond the senses, and then you're bringing it into form. So you're already diminishing the contamination that happens when you're going outward, because you went beyond the senses. Like that's why like writing things out, it's like it can work for materialization, but you're also not going beyond the senses. So all this contamination here still in play. But when you do the materialization breath, you go beyond it, you come back, and then you try to push through it. You've already let go of some of it, so like every time you do it, you're letting go of a little bit of your past. You're letting go of some of your baggage. You're letting go of the way that you used to do things. You're letting go of some of that dysregulation. So what happens is you're you're pushing through. It's like you're running this gauntlet, or you're piercing through this veil. Well, the tendency is for the emotions to be a little scattered and the mind to be a little scattered. Like different thoughts will start popping up in your head, and then you're like, "Well, I feel this, but what about that?" Like, you just have all these like kind of random things that pop up because you're piercing that veil. And so after you do the materialization breath, when you bring it back to the ajna, you're containing your thoughts and you're containing your emotion and you're directing it exactly where it needs to go. The dysregulation comes from the scatter, right? Like, so the more that you keep bringing it in, it's like it's a different kind of vagal tone. It's like an outward expression of like kind of vagal tone, where the scatter part is us trying to survive and us being defensive and us being protective and us being stressed out and trying not to let something happen again and going to micromanage this to make it work and like all those things. And all those things contribute to the repetitiveness of the pattern. So when you come to the ajna, it's like thoughts get more focused, emotions get more focused, and your neurology gets more focused. So now you can direct it a bit better than you did before to these different areas. But you've also brought in angelic energy. So not only have you gone beyond the senses, but now you've gone beyond the senses and brought in angelic energy. And now you're using angelic energy to pierce through that veil of the past. And so, like you said, there's a kerchunk that happens at the ajna. Then, like when you go to the base of the skull, that's where the body listening gets even heightened. Like, so now you're receiving messages from your physiology, you're receiving messages from the emotions, and you're receiving messages from the environment. You're receiving it from the environment and even the earth itself. And so you're starting to sense things on a different level and process them rather than react to them. So, like that piece at the base of the skull becomes an important part because now you're processing information rather than reacting to the information. Then you bring it into the spine. And as you bring it into the spine, it concretizes into the body.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. Wonderful.
Yeah. It's it it works better. had we not had all the conversations that we've had about vagal tone and dysregulation,
Hmm.
I don't know that we could really practice this. You know, even if you haven't done it very much, like that idea of the vagal tone and dysregulation, it's how we harness divine intelligence. Like when we have dysregulation and poor vagal tone, it's like we're out of sync with the creative aspect or divine intelligence or light. And so the more that we bring that in, it brings a kind of stability to the nervous system to where like these next steps can happen. But if we don't have like that in play, something still happens. It's still good. It's just, not as good. You don't get to hold on to it quite as much as you could. And you know, kind of what you're shooting for is that kerchunk. It's kind of like what I was calling the tap. Like, at some point you get the tap. And it is that kerchunk, and like when that happens, the light is like you're physicalizing light into the body. You're grounding the light in the body. And so when you ground the light in the body, it changes the state of the body. Like now you're like, okay, I was in a trauma state or I was in a fear state. That's what I used to be. Like, it starts to diminish that state of um, what the body was in. And even that idea of like a sense of well-being, like the state, like if you look at it from the point of view of the chakras, it's the basic chakra, but it's the body. But like if you looked at it and was like, okay, where can I find it in the chakras? It's in the basic chakra, right? So at this point, whatever is in the basic like moves up and hits the heart, right? So if it's like a positive aspect, it's a sense of well-being, it's an activation of the heart. It's also tied to how your destiny and the things that happen in your life, it's how they play out, right? If it's trauma or if it's like fear or like chaos or lack mentality, whatever it is, whatever hits here then moves up to the brain, and then the brain goes into a repetitive, like protective mode. Like it's a kind of like a form of pride almost. Like it just protects from things being different. It just goes like on a lockdown. And so when you're going through and you're doing this and you get that point where the kerchunk happens, it's like it cleans up that basic chakra a bit, and then something more positive works up, and you start to like, that feels nice, right? And then it makes the mind eventually more filled with light, or it's like it's the pathway for what you would call like enlightenment, is that pathway moving up to the light, moving up from the form, like from the state of the body, the light starts to move up and then lights up the brain.
So that also sounds like it ties into what you were talking about at the beginning about the deeper aspect of love in the heart.
Yeah,
Right? Like this is how we're
yeah.
sort of we're
How
transcending
you
that.
touch exactly, like
Okay.
how you touch the astral is you got to get enough juice from the basic up.
Ah,
And then
ah.
if you can get enough juice of it up, all of a sudden it's like, life isn't as crazy as I thought it was. Even if it's crazy, I see a bigger picture, because part of what starts to happen is I mean, this can get like long-winded, but from like the basic to the heart and then the heart to the brain or the crown, in between is uh like space, but it's how we process, it's like how we perceive things. So, like there's different, it's like how there's the five senses. There's like these five aspects of how we process things, but um not like I see, I smell, I hear. It's that's like a gateway, but it's like a deeper level of processing, like the depth of something, the width of something, the height of something. Even soul processing is tied to this. And so the more if you follow the mechanics, like the experiences that you'll start having in the heart will start to be very, very different. And you'll notice, like several people have said this already, either in email or conversation. I think a few times in these conversations like this, but it's like their depth perception of a situation. Everything doesn't feel just like right here, right now. It starts to be like, oh, I'm starting to have this like bigger picture of something. Like, these are playing out, but I don't feel the panic of this has to be resolved right now. You can almost see like how things are starting to play out. And what's happening is your perception is opening up from survival is like this under the microscope. But as you keep opening things up and the perspective change, it gets like bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're able to start taking in more kinds of information. And so your depth perception, like your inner depth perception, starts to shift and change. And that really is, clairvoyance is nice. Like clairvoyance, like, oh, I look and I see things around a person, or I see a color, or, all of that is good. But all of that is a stepping stone to having this like greater kind of depth perception. Like the
Mhm.
depth perception is really what you're shooting for.
Mhm. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. How was your process, by the way?
Oh, it was magnificent. I mean, the whole thing was just really I'm having a really good time with the angels. I
Oh,
work
good.
I had a great experience, just a quick testimonial here, working with the angels and how it's playing out in life. I on Monday I woke up in a horribly bad mood. I had a big work day in front of me. I was irritable. I was really feeling pissy and not wanting to do my job and not wanting to do anything. I went for a walk and I invoked Michael,
Hmm.
Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel. Each one by name. I invoke them carefully. I ask them, please help me shift this because I don't want to go into my workday like this.
Right.
When I went into my workday, I was better than fine. I mean, I was my
Oh,
usual
nice.
cheerful, happy self, and I had done nothing except that. I
Right.
mean, and then I was just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something happening with all of the stuff we're all doing here that's
Yeah.
magical. Yeah.
I had my thing. Remember when I fell? Like I fell and like kind of injured myself. This was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago or something. And I was fine, but I was feeling a little wobbly. And one day went by, 2 days went by. We were on the road, and I was okay, but I was not feeling very good. And like to the point, like on Sunday, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do today. Like I'm feeling pretty rough. And I did a healing on myself like for an hour. Didn't feel that much better. I put some oils on and I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a little better, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to call it. Like I don't think I'm gonna be able to do the day. And so I was like, well, we'll just we've been doing this angel stuff. I'm gonna do the angel thing. I felt better than normal. Like
Hmm.
I spent 15 or 20 minutes just, feeling my body and then invoking. I think I did Raphael and I just did Raphael and I just kept doing Raphael. And then I started feeling better and I'd like open my eyes and go, okay, well, we'll do a little more. And then, I mean, I popped up like Samantha, like I think was like, okay, are we going to do the day? Are we not? And I was like, I'm fine. Like I'm totally fine. And I mean, it was night and day difference. And I mean, the normal stuff didn't work. You know, like it made me feel a little better, but like I looking back, it's like it kind of stabilized me, but I was still feeling pretty rough. And did the angel work? And man, it was a game changer,
Yeah, I
game
understand.
changer.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So
Yeah.
let's keep doing it.
Yeah. I hear you.
Thank you.
And go ahead, Teresa.
Hey.
I can never find the unmute button. Um, First question, what is in this blend? Because it's amazing.
Let's see.
They're all amazing, but every time it's very soothing to me. Hmm.
It's rosemary. It's a very fancy rosemary, by the way. It's like rosemary from Provence.
Ooh,
Oh yeah, I know. It's like almost like a perfume quality rosemary.
nice.
So rosemary, black pepper, patchouli, and cistus.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. Um, I've decided to start writing them on the cards just as a
Oh,
remember.
that's a good idea.
Just as a reminder. Uh, so this was interesting for me, and it is so great. Um, I always feel like everything's so perfectly timed with, I don't even have to think about it. So I could feel the light coming in the body on some big shift I had structurally yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And then when we got to the ajna, I think um, was that Linda that was speaking beforehand?
Hmm.
The clunk, I felt that, but I also felt um, just old trauma. I had been working with two people. It just shifted, like it was released.
Oh, good.
I saw them
Good.
come up, and it
Right.
was like we're all free, and
Right.
and I don't think I would have understood it had she not said the clunk. And I'm like, oh, it's the light coming in, and it just
Yeah, the clunk. It's like what we're calling the clunk or the tap or whatever
yep,
is that moment when the light is contained and it gets grounded.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I felt
Yeah.
that, and it would have been in the area of my ajna that there would have been distortion as related to the trauma experiences. So that was really
Yeah.
cool. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
exciting.
Yeah. Very good.
And thank you for asking what's in the oil. We had another person asking as well what was in that angel Boel. So I didn't write it out. If you guys need me to, I can go back to the transcript and write it out for you. Someone's asking, is the Ming Ming a chakra in its own right or part of the solar plexus or something else?
It's well, it depends on the chakra system that you're talking about. There are different chakra systems, but it is a chakra. So the seven chakra system does not include the Mingmen, and there's a bunch of different kinds of seven chakra systems. And a lot of times the spleen and the navel and the solar plexus and sometimes the sex chakra will have these different combinations of like where they've gotten combined depending on which seven chakra system. In the tree of life, there's 10 centers with a secret center. And so they're also manifest in the body. And so when you look at it from the point of view of the tree of life, the Ming Men or that backside of the navel is Hod or means glory. Like when in the Bible say glory be to God, they're talking about that center. And so that center shoots energy up. And so in the seven chakra systems, it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It's just that with whatever teachings were being given with the seven chakra system, the Ming Men was not part of the teachings, or they left it out for inner teachings, or who knows? It depends on the tradition, but they usually just leave it out. They don't combine it with something. But yeah, it's its own center. Yeah. Sometimes with other areas, like if it's the navel and the solar plexus, or the navel and the spleen, sometimes those will get combined, and they'll have the properties of the two centers, but when you use the tree of life, they would get separated.
They said thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Good questions, guys. Thank you for your shares. And I think we're ready to go to another.
Okay. So, we did the letting the light in. So again, let's just kind of pick it up and do that second part again, and we'll go a little bit deeper. So again, let's feel it in your body. Where do you feel something in your body? And wherever you're feeling something in your body, you're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with the oil. You're feeling it in your body. And you're just letting it go. You're just letting it go. And, now your awareness is on your low back, the back side of your navel. And then just let it go. Okay, bottle to your chest, chin down, and we're going to do 8 or 9 of the materialization breaths. So down, inhale, hold your breath, up, exhale. Down, inhale, 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 up, exhale. Now put your awareness on your ajna. Take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and let that go. Just let it go. Your awareness is on the base of the skull. Put your awareness on the base of the skull. Take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then you're letting that go. Your awareness is on the whole spine. The whole spine. You're inhaling the oil with your awareness on the whole spine. You're just being still. Now, a little bit of the deeper dive is you inhale with your awareness on your palms. So your awareness is on your palms. Take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then the soles of your feet. And then you're just letting go. Just let it go. Okay, let's do shares and questions again. You can unmute and type in. How did you do?
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Hee hee.
All right. So the base of the skull, we did,
Hmm.
as soon as you said, put your awareness on the base of the skull, there was a sensation and sort of an image, a visual image of like a funnel of light
Yeah.
going into that point. And it was really brilliant for a while, but then it kind of like dimmed. And before you had us actually, stop that and just be still, it was kind of like it's like kind of like a shutter of a camera closed or something,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. And so and so then we went to the spine after that, and the spine didn't light up in the same way, but I had sensation all like down the
Mhm.
spine. Um, and then I kind of felt a little bit like my body was getting a little bit overwhelmed because I could
Yeah,
feel sensation all
yeah,
down
yeah.
my arms and my legs and all that. So I kind of like just sort of I put the bottle down and I just let it be, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and and when you said go deeper with the palms, I like had to keep my eyes open and like I could notice my palms and my soles, but I was like I wasn't going deeper because I was feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
And
mean, that's why, you know, that's why we just don't blast through all of it at once. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like you kind of got to get your legs under you every step of the way.
yeah.
The thing that I would say, when you start to let in light, you're letting light into the form. And part of what happens is, it's like just in meditation, like you expand, you expand, you expand, and it's like, oh, this is amazing. I never want to stop. And then all of a sudden you're coming back into your body and you're like, I didn't want to stop. I wanted to stay up there, you know. The idea is that, you're playing with the creative energy or divine intelligence. And so at some point there's going to be like light's going to come in, come in, come in, and come in, but just to the point where you can handle it. And then at that point, there's a contraction,
Mm.
right? So, like, that is like the play of yin and yang or a form in essence, is the light will come in, and then at some point, there's the contraction. So, you kind of like right now, we're just getting used to doing these things. But at some point, you could even sit there for a while and let it cycle through. And if you wanted to go deeper, you could still ride more light in, or you could just let it sit there. And then when it feels like it lightens up, then you can go down into the spine. That idea of like at the base of the skull, like that, when you're tapping there. So you're increasing um body listening, like you're increasing like the processing of the information, right? And so, part of it is about the body, part of it is about the light and the form. Some of it might be about the environment, and some of it might be like those past situations where it's the state of the body. You know how, like, I talk about sometimes, like, there's that area below your feet, and kind of like all your past is below your feet. That's really like another way of saying that's a reflection of the state of the body. So even like when you're saying or amen or whom, you're releasing light out your feet into that area below your feet. And part of what you're doing when you're saying your prayers and you're going amen is you're little by little shifting the state of the body so that all those mechanisms that we talked about on the last break are in play. That area at the base of the skull, like that, it's where it's like how we can maintain like greater soul connection in the body. Like we're not going to hold it there forever, but just like that little tiny bit that you're there, like more soul essence comes into the body and anchors in the body. So more, light is coming in, and you'll only be able to handle so much. And so when it contracts, usually that's when I just like let it go. But if it's a Sunday and you're like, I really want to do, you could ride out the contraction and then eventually it would light up again.
Okay. Now, is that the medulla?
Yeah, it's right in the medulla area. Yeah,
Okay.
there's the medulla, there's the mid, it's that midbrain area. So there's part of the brain stem, and that's part of like how we uh like it's tied to autonomic function, which is like the dysregulation and vagal tone. It's like a deeper way of like harnessing that balance so that more light, more soul energy can come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now
And
this,
and the medulla is also where the little channels are, where the energy from the heart moves up to the crown. Like when heart energy moves up, it's because of the medulla. Like in and around the medulla. It's like the little channels are what open up that pathway for it to move up.
fascinating. Okay.
Mm.
So one more question. This
Hmm.
particular part of the process with the ajna and then the base of the skull and this whole part, we're doing here, we have a group that we meet every couple of weeks and we're doing the angel
Hmm.
practice. And
Hmm.
so we generally do the universal angelic process. That's usually, and we pick
Hmm.
an angel out of the hat kind of thing, and then we work with that
Sure.
one for the night. So would this be like an alternative process, what we did
Yeah,
tonight?
they do different things, but
Yeah.
I would do them both. Like we're gonna come back around on the universal angelic thing. I think for some people it's a little too much. So,
Okay.
but if you're, I was trying to teach it in pieces, but um, it's intense.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like
It's
that to me. Yes.
very intense.
Yeah.
And that's part of a very deep inner practice. And so, I kind of put it out there. Some people will grab onto it, some people won't. We're going to come back around to it again, but we're always moving back towards that direction.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you easily could shift those around. Even that idea of the first thing where we do like the forehead, back head, sides of the head, brain,
Hmm.
eye, heart, and then the ball of light.
Yeah.
Like the more that you get that down, the more that you're letting light in the body. Like you're more you're able to experience the angelic energy. And the deeper version of that, like when you get to the brain, keep going deeper on the brain and then eventually go to the blue pearl.
Hmm.
Like we've done it that way a couple of times in classes, but again, there's some people that can like go there with it, and then there's some people where it's a little too much. And I prefer like softer rather than trying to force it. So if I feel that's too much, I'll like kind of back off, and it's not off the table. It's just, it'll come back around again.
Hmm. Okay.
So you could
And
you could play with that, like where you know, because even the last piece with the hands and the feet,
yeah.
like it's tied more to you put your awareness on the blue pearl and then the hands and then the blue pearl and the feet.
Ah, okay.
But like don't jump to that right now. Like
No, I won't.
eventually. Yeah,
I
yeah,
won't. I
eventually.
won't.
Yeah.
Okay. And one more question, sorry, is
Mhm.
are there certain angels that are more appropriate to do this process for us with?
All of
Like,
them.
is all of them?
All,
It doesn't
all of them.
matter. Okay. Okay.
Including the names of Metatron.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. All,
Ah,
all of it, all of it's, you know, game on.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm glad you guys are enjoying.
And go ahead, Dan.
Hey, hey. Down a quick note there. Um,
Wow. I asked to stay conscious this time around. The first time I was like, I just kind of leaned into it and I was there throughout the whole, didn't drop the bottle, still doing it, but I was not here.
Yeah.
Um,
Like in a lot of meditations that might not be like the thing that you would want, but like for practices like this, um, I would say it's a good thing, because the thing is, i- like if you think about it, you're just trying to get to that place where you're experiencing that light and it's you're getting the tap. You don't have to be awake for it.
right,
A lot of times for most people, I would say most people experience it on some level. They usually do it during dream time. Like they don't really necessarily
Mm.
experience while we're practicing while awake, but they might like have little flashes of it during dream time. And you're hitting this place of intuition where, it's not, it's kind of a meditation, but it's kind of not. You know what I mean? It's meditation like, it's like, or ish, or however you want to
Right.
say it. It's like it's kind of in the same vein, but when the expansion happens, it happens. If you're awake, if you're asleep, kind of doesn't matter. And you know, the important thing is you get to that place or that state, and then how it looks kind of doesn't matter. Like it's the point is to try to get to that place to where that experience happens, and that you pass out or you fall asleep or you're awake. As long as you're having the experience, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, this second round when we went back in there and to the Ajna,
Hmm.
I was actually, like I said, I kind of asked the state, is there another way to do this without or while staying conscious was what I kind of asked, if you will.
Hmm.
And it felt more like there was a liquid component to it. Just kind of just felt like it coming in. Sometimes the way we felt like we're expressing something or exfoliating something, it feels like spider webs on the face, right? This was
Hmm.
not spider webs at all. It was felt like more of a liquid thing, kind of like a pouring or thing.
Do
Is
you know
that a
where
thing?
that was happening? Do you know where you were feeling it?
Yeah, I was feeling it on the face and on the cheek and coming around here. It's kind of just on the face. I didn't think it didn't feel like the spider web thing, like normally, like when you would push stuff off, but it felt definitely like there was a liquid pouring kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, there is like something that when we do this like strong enough or deep enough, there is like something that gets released that will start to change your energy body. Um, it could be that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not completely sure. Just because of like the location of where you're feeling it. It doesn't like cross it off the list, but it's like it could be a variation of it.
Okay. Okay.
Definitely up in the head,
Right.
you know. And so I would pay attention to it. The other thing is like sometimes when they talk about like a downpour of spiritual energy, it's like what they would refer to sometimes as the living water.
Right. Yeah.
And so
Healing.
it could
Right.
be like a dense spiritual energy that's coming down. And it does feel almost like something's being poured on top of your head and you're like like being pushed down a little bit by like if you were standing under a waterfall.
Right.
That can happen. I can see that that would wash over the face as well.
Yeah.
Either way, it's good.
Okay.
But I'm not sure which one it is.
Okay.
It's probably one or the other though.
Right. Yeah. It felt kind of soothing, like a blanket, kind
Hmm.
of like a syrupy kind of thing, if you will. So
Hmm.
interesting though. Um, and then when we got to the hands though, the chakras definitely turned on, if you will. I mean, they were
Hmm.
definitely lit up. The palms of the feet definitely lit up through that process. So, yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. Amazing stuff, Greg. Amazing. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Glad to get to share this with you guys.
Yeah, yeah, it's my bread and butter now, as you've sort of used that phrase before. So yeah, things have been kind of stressful lately for me, so it's definitely had to make sure to get to the class here and kind of stay in a good space.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, yeah.
And then we had some shares as well.
Mhm.
Saw the Nine of Cups from the tarot.
Oh,
Heard the message that I was loved and surrounded by beauty. Felt safe and supported. Lots of light into the crown.
Mm.
Another thanking Linda for her sharing her experience. They said during the ball of light, I experienced a vortex of sunshine, sunny shine, sunshine color kind of light that streamed in and all around the ball. And then, yeah, that was, oh my gosh, I'm digging. This one's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's so fun doing the different angel every.
Yeah. I mean, you can see, like, even though we're working with angels, and even though you kind of have these like inspired kind of reactions, they're all very, very different. Yeah.
Well, we have a few more minutes. Really just fill us up.
So, how about we close our eyes for a moment and you're just being still? And let's just deepen the effect of what we did on the spine. Your awareness is on your spine. Go ahead and start inhaling the oil. And then just pause. Now, your awareness is on your spine, but this time we're going to use the name. You can inhale if you'd like, but we're going to use the name. Your awareness is on your spine, silently in your mind. Repeat Boel. 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 And then just be still. Just let it all go. O L. And just for a moment, touch your jaws, like your awareness is just on your jaws. And just take a few nice, long, slow, deep breaths with the oil. Your awareness is on the jaws. Just let it go. Okay, you guys. Well, we had a great night tonight. I hope you enjoyed the session. Not all of them are as intense as it was tonight, but next week, the angel Cornel. So it's one that we've used for a very long time, and it's a favorite for a lot of people. So we'll be talking about Cornel and working with Cornel next week. And then tomorrow night, we're doing a deeper dive on the neck and head, shoulders, in the deeper dive for the healing. And this weekend is the healing for the cardiovascular system, which is a 2.0. We've done it. It's a free class, but we've done it once before, and we're going to do a 2.0 version of it. So hope you can join us at some point. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday. So take care.